All right, so the Gauls are probably going to win this one. Caesar has had some pretty, he's had some good luck. In the last turn, he was able to defeat a very large army under Ambiorix up in the province of the Treveri. Won a big battle up there and really turned the game around. Looked like Caesar was going to get back in it. But the Gauls had a really good hand, and they were able to do a couple things. They had the Druid Influence card, and they had the Idui Revolt card. So they were able to flip the Idui, and when Caesar was up here in Belgica, and Caesar's really trying last turn, was hoping to get the 2 points from Germania. He had a great army, great position to take it, but total mess developed down here in Celtica that he had to respond to. Vercingetorix was amassing the Averni, the Idui, the Santones, and the Aquitani were kind of guarding their rear, moving up into the Senones area, tribal area, and trying to get the Biturges to also revolt. It was something that Caesar had to respond to, and he did get a little bit of luck and was able to knock the Idui back out of the war for now. But at the end of the turn, the Caesar was only able to pick up the one governance point, and that was due in large part to a big revolt that been kind of saving up with the Gauls, and so a bunch of tribes that were out of play came into play. And so the end result now is that Caesar needs some help here. He's got 5 points on the track, and he's got 1 point for casualties, almost 2 points for casualties. So he's sitting at 6.5 points. Let's call it that. He can get 4 if he gets up into Britannia, 2 for Germania. That's 4 of them. Pick up another 5 for the casualties here along the way, and then maybe if he can get the governance point, that might allow him to win. But that might be stretching it. He's going to need a little help this turn. So one of the strategies I've been trying out with the Gauls is to not let Caesar go for these 2 point victory bonuses up in Britannia and in Germania. There's not much that the Gauls can do about him grabbing the 1 point for Caesar's pass up here. And so what I've tried to do is not amass large target armies for Caesar to kill a bunch of guys at once. Just try to nip around the edges of the empire, create threats down in Provincia. Basically try to hit him where he ain't, and don't fight pitched battles with Caesar unless it is absolutely necessary or you have a decisive advantage. I think by doing that, you create a situation where the onus becomes on Caesar to take some chances, and then you can seize those opportunities to make up some ground, make it cost him to go for those 2 victory point bonuses on the perimeter of the map. And so that's kind of been the strategy I pursued this game and the last one. And so far, I think that's the way to go. The games where the Gauls have gotten beat, where I played, it's because I think I'm fighting too many battles. I get excited because I got Ambiorix or I got Vercingetorix, and so I can put together a very large army, but I could have a 2-column advantage on here and still lose because of all the rerolls that Caesar can get. He potentially gets 4 rerolls with Vercingetorix. I got 1. 2 if you've got the Nervii tribe with you. And so, average die roll results, you're probably still going to lose, and the Gauls can't take casualties like the Romans can. So minimizing Gallic casualties, forcing Caesar to take the time to besiege every stinking little town, that's been kind of the name of the game. Forcing him to spend cards maneuvering. That's I think how the Gauls have gotten themselves into a position where they really are strategically in the driver's seat. Well, there's the final score. I was able, Caesar, to get the VPs from Germania and from Britannia, so 4 points there. But the Belgians were just really slippery. I couldn't pin down any of the tribes. The Romans had a good hand to work with. It was closer than I thought it was going to be. They really did have a chance on this last turn to pull this thing off, because the Belgians or the Gauls, I should say, had to keep playing cards to contest Caesar's moves, and so they weren't really able to do a lot of the things I wanted to do with them, and so they were pretty much reactive the entire turn. But the Romans were able to march long distances, grab VPs, but were not able to force the Gauls to stand and fight and die, except in one instance. They caught the Atrebates on their way to Britannia and were able to eliminate them, but they failed to get another one that would have scored them another point. And so it was very, very close, because if they had nailed the Remi, that would have given them a point there for sure, and might have been able to, they would have, I think, still lost by 1 point, but it would have been a closer game if they'd been able to pin those guys down in Remi, because then Caesar probably would have had enough card play left to secure the control of that province. But they had chances at no less than, I think, 3 tribes on 4 different occasions. Every time they rolled high enough to get away, to escape, and that was really what Caesar was counting at. For much of the game, the Gauls did very well at slipping out of his grasp, and so even though he made a pretty successful lunge to go in long distances in 2 opposite directions, took some attrition losses along the way, but was able to score those 4 points. I still think that was a pretty impressive last turn for the Romans, but the Gauls are going to come away victorious in this one. Real fun game here from GMT Games.